Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we are venturing into the world of iguanas.
Iguanas.
Yeah, we're going to be looking at a YouTube video showcasing the 15 most beautiful iguanas in the world.
Beautiful iguanas.
A pretty
Interesting.
cool concept, right? I mean, obviously beauty's in the eye of the beholder, but
Well, and in the eye of the iguanas, I guess, too.
and in the eye of the iguana, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see some pretty fascinating stuff, and maybe we'll learn a little something about ourselves along the way. Who knows?
Okay, I like that.
So it should be pretty fun. Now, as we go along, we're going to uncover some pretty wild facts about these creatures.
Okay.
Did you know there's an iguana that can hold its breath for like over an hour?
Really?
Yeah. And another one that lives almost exclusively in the ocean.
Wow, okay. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, and we're also going to be talking about like speed demons, colored chameleons, even an iguana with a tail that acts like a fifth limb. It's going to be a wild ride.
All right, so we're going beyond just a beauty pageant here. This is like a deep dive into iguana evolution and ecology.
Exactly. This video is kind of just like our launch pad to talk about all sorts of cool stuff, like you said, evolution, maybe even a bit of island biogeography. And, we can't ignore the impact we humans have on these incredible creatures.
Yeah, that's a crucial point.
So to kick things off, the video starts with some iguana basics. You know, like they belong to the Iguanidae family, primarily called the tropical America's home.
Right.
And yeah, some of them are popular pets, but we're not going to dwell on the basics. We're here for the extraordinary.
Agreed. Let's get to the good stuff.
So the video jumps right into its top 15 countdown, but instead of just listing them off, we're going to explore some of the fascinating themes that emerge, kind of like grouping them together.
Okay, I like that approach.
What do you say we start with island life?
Island life. Perfect place to start because it shows how isolation can lead to some truly unique evolutionary paths.
Right. And where better to illustrate that than with the Galapagos Islands?
The Galapagos. Such a classic example of evolution in action.
Absolutely. And the video features several iguanas found only in the Galapagos.
Oh, cool. Like what?
Well, there's the Galapagos land iguana. For one, they can live for an incredibly long time, like 60 to 69 years.
Wow, that's a long time for a lizard.
I know, right? Makes my goldfish look like a mayfly.
So what's their secret?
Well, it all comes down to island life. Think about it. Limited resources, lack of natural predators.
Eh,
It all kind of leads to a slower life cycle.
makes sense. They don't have to rush.
Exactly. They can invest more energy in survival and reproduction over a longer period.
So island life is like the fountain of youth for these iguanas.
You could say that. But then the video mentions the Galapagos pink iguana, and it's a very different story.
Oh, how so?
Well, for starters, this species is super rare. Less than 200 individuals left in the wild.
Wow. That's critically endangered, isn't it?
It is, and that really highlights a different side of island life vulnerability. These ecosystems are so delicate.
Right, any disruption can have a huge impact.
And in this case, it's invasive species and habitat loss that have pushed the pink iguana to the brink.
So it's a reminder that the unique conditions that allow some island species to thrive can also make them incredibly fragile.
Exactly. It's a double-edged sword.
Mhm.
Now, the video also features the Galapagos marine iguana, and this one really blew my mind.
Oh, yeah, the ones that swim in the ocean.
You got it. How do they survive in that cold water? It's wild.
Well, they've evolved these amazing adaptations to handle that harsh environment. One of the coolest is their salt glands.
Salt glands. I've heard of those, but remind me, how do they work again?
Basically, they have these special glands above their eyes connected to their nostrils.
Okay.
And these glands filter out excess salt from their blood, and they expel it through their noses.
So they're like sneezing out salt.
It's kind of like that, yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. Nature is full of these little surprises.
Yeah.
Now, the video mentions that these marine iguanas can actually move pretty quickly on land, especially when they need to escape predators like the Galapagos racer snakes.
Right. Trying to outrun those snakes.
But speaking of speed, we got to talk about the iguana that's known as the ultimate speed demon.
Oh, yeah. I know which one you're talking about. The black spiny-tailed iguana.
That's the one. They can reach speeds of up to 21 miles per hour.
21 miles per hour. That's faster than I can run.
Right. Imagine seeing that flash of green and black whizzing by. It makes those marine iguanas scrambling from snakes look like they're moving in slow motion.
It's amazing how evolution pushes creatures to these extremes. What would make a lizard need to be that fast?
Well, probably a combination of things like avoiding predators and hunting prey.
Yeah.
Being able to outrun danger or catch a meal in a flash. That's a huge advantage.
So while the Galapagos iguanas are chilling on their islands, these black spiny-tailed iguanas are on the mainland, living life in the fast lane.
Exactly. It really highlights the incredible diversity of lifestyles even within a single group of animals. And speaking of diversity, The video showcases some seriously stunning iguanas, like the blue iguana, the green iguana, and the Fiji banded iguana.
Oh, yeah, those are some beauties.
Their colors are just breathtaking, but I'm guessing it's not just about looking good for the camera, right?
Definitely not. Color in the animal kingdom is rarely just about aesthetics. It often plays a crucial role in their survival.
Like camouflage.
Exactly. Blending in can be the difference between life and death.
And the video specifically mentioned the markings on the green iguana.
Right. They're pretty distinctive.
Yeah, so are those markings serving some kind of camouflage purpose, or are they more about communication?
It's probably a bit of both. The video didn't get into specifics, but we can look at it from an evolutionary standpoint.
Okay.
Those markings could help them blend into the dappled light of the rainforest, but they could also be signals to other green iguanas.
Signals like what?
Maybe for attracting mates or establishing dominance. It's like a secret language written on their skin.
I love that idea, a secret language.
Yeah.
Now, some iguanas have developed some pretty unique adaptations beyond just coloration. The video mentioned the rhinoceros iguana, which, as you might guess, is named for its horns.
Oh, yeah, those horns are impressive.
Are those just for show, or is there a more practical reason for them?
Oh, those horns are definitely more than just a fashion statement. They're primarily used for display and combat between males.
So like a real-life Jurassic Park showdown?
Exactly. Think of it like deer antlers.
Yeah.
A way to establish dominance and win the right to mate.
Wow, that's intense.
Uh,
But not all iguanas are armed with horns. The video also featured the monkey-tailed denal, which has this incredibly long and flexible tail.
oh, yeah, I've heard of those. They're also called Bert Hold's bramble anole.
Right. It almost acts like a fifth limb.
Yeah.
I've heard the term prehensile tail, but I'm not really sure what that means.
A prehensile tail is a tail that can grasp or hold objects, kind of like a monkey's tail.
So it's like a built-in grappling hook.
Exactly. In the case of the monkey-tailed denal, that tail allows them to move through the trees with incredible agility and stability.
That's amazing. It's like they're swinging through the branches like tiny reptilian acrobats.
Pretty much. It really makes you appreciate how diverse and specialized these creatures have become over millions of years.
It does, but sadly not all iguanas are thriving. The video touched upon the endangered status of several species.
Yeah, it's a reminder that even the most amazing adaptations can't always overcome the challenges we humans have created.
Like habitat loss, invasive species, climate change.
Exactly.
The Jamaican iguana, for example, was nearly wiped out because of the introduction of the mongoose.
Another example of unintended consequences, we try to solve one problem and end up creating a new one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there's the Fijian crested iguana, critically endangered due to habitat loss and invasive species. It's heartbreaking to think about these amazing creatures disappearing.
It is, but it's important not to lose hope. We can still make a difference.
Absolutely. So what can we do to help protect these iguanas?
It starts with awareness. By learning about these issues, you're already taking a step in the right direction.
Okay, so knowledge is power.
Exactly. And from there, it's about making conscious choices, supporting conservation organizations, advocating for responsible policies, and reducing our own impact on the planet.
So it's not just about saving individual species. It's about protecting entire ecosystems.
Precisely. It's about understanding the delicate balance that sustains life on Earth.
That's a pretty big responsibility, but where do we even begin?
Well, I think it starts with simple things like reducing our carbon footprint, supporting sustainable practices, being mindful of our consumption habits.
Those are all great steps. But let's shift gears for a moment and talk about something a bit lighter. The fascinating breeding habits of iguanas.
Okay, I'm game.
The video mentioned that female utility iguanas actually migrate to lay their eggs.
Migrate. Why would they do that?
Well, apparently the mangrove swamps where they live aren't suitable for nesting, so they have to travel to find the perfect spot.
Wow, talk about dedicated mothers.
I know, right? They'll go to any lengths to ensure the survival of their offspring.
That's incredible. And then you have the rhinoceros iguanas, which take a very different approach to parenthood.
Oh yeah, what do they do?
They don't reach breeding maturity until they're 4 to 5 years old.
Oh wow. That's like the iguana equivalent of waiting until you're settled in your career before starting a family.
Exactly. It's all about timing. When you're a large, long-lived reptile, you can afford to take your time.
Makes sense. So we've journeyed from the Galapagos Islands to the rainforests of Central America and the islands of Fiji. We've seen iguanas that live in trees, iguanas that swim in the ocean, and iguanas that can outrun a bicycle. This deep dive has really opened my eyes to the incredible diversity of these often overlooked creatures.
It's amazing, isn't it? There's so much more to iguanas than meets the eye.
But as we wrap up our exploration, I can't help but wonder, what does the future hold for them? The video started by focusing on their beauty, but we've uncovered so much more than just pretty faces.
Right, we've learned about their struggles, their resilience, and their vital role in their ecosystems.
So what comes next for these fascinating reptiles?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is. And it's a question we're going to explore further in our next deep dive.
Oh.
So stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back after a short break.
Yeah, it's a question that kind of lingers, you know? You start with this video about beauty and you end up thinking about the fate of whole ecosystems.
Yeah, it's like we peeled back the layers and found this whole web of interconnectedness.
Exactly.
The beauty of these iguanas, it's all tied to their adaptations, their environment, and yeah, our impact on the planet.
And as we talked about, a lot of iguana species are facing some serious threats.
Right. Habitat loss, climate change, invasive species. It's a lot.
It's a complex, there's no easy answers, but I think understanding how these issues are connected is really important.
So it's bigger than just saving individual species, right?
It is. It's about protecting whole ecosystems, that delicate balance that makes life on Earth possible.
Okay, so big responsibility, but where do we even begin?
It can feel overwhelming, but I think awareness is key. Just learning about these issues, that's a great first step.
Right? Knowledge is power and all that.
Exactly. And then it's about making choices, in our everyday lives, supporting conservation organizations, pushing for responsible policies, even just reducing our own carbon footprint. It all adds up.
So like little things can make a difference.
Absolutely. Every little bit helps.
At the beginning of this, I was mostly excited to see some cool iguanas. But now I'm seeing there's a much deeper message here. It's not just about appreciating the beauty of nature. It's about taking responsibility for protecting it.
I think that's a great takeaway from this deep dive. It's about looking beyond the surface and seeing the bigger picture.
Yeah, and that's what makes these conversations so interesting. You start with something simple, like a YouTube video, and you end up learning so much about the world and our place in it.
It's about making those connections, seeing how everything is linked.
Exactly. So as we wrap up our iguana adventure, we'll leave you with this. Don't just admire the beauty of nature, act to protect it. Whether it's an iguana, a rainforest, an entire ocean, the choices we make today will shape the world of tomorrow.
Well said. Couldn't agree more.
So until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.
See you then. Yeah, it really makes you think, doesn't it? We started with this video about beautiful iguanas, and now we're talking about the fate of the planet.
It's true. But it all goes back to those iguanas, doesn't it? I mean, the survival depends on us protecting their habitats, and that means addressing things like climate change and pollution.
Absolutely. It's all connected.
So it's not just about saving the iguanas, it's about saving ourselves, too.
Exactly. Right? We're all part of this intricate web of life.
I never thought I'd get so philosophical about lizards.
Haha. Well, that's the beauty of these deep dives. You never know where they'll take you.
I guess that's true. So what can we do? What can our listeners do to actually make a difference?
Well, as we've been saying, awareness is key. Learn about the challenges facing these animals and their ecosystems, and then spread the word.
Right. Tell your friends, your family, get everyone on board.
And then support organizations that are working to protect these animals, whether it's through donations or volunteering your time. Every little bit helps.
And I guess we can all try to be more mindful of our own impact on the planet, right?
Absolutely. Reduce your carbon footprint.
Yeah.
Make sustainable choices. Support businesses that are doing the right thing. It all adds up.
When we started this deep dive, I was just looking forward to seeing some cool iguanas.
Me too.
But we've learned so much more than that. We've learned about the interconnectedness of life, the fragility of ecosystems, and the importance of taking action.
And the beauty of these animals too, right?
Yeah.
Let's not forget that.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up our iguana adventure, we want to leave you with a sense of hope and a call to action.
Okay, I like that.
We can make a difference for these amazing creatures and for our planet.
We can and we must.
So go out there, learn more, spread the word, and take action. The future of these iguanas and our planet depends on it. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of iguanas.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll see you next time for another fascinating exploration.
Until then, keep on learning.